Well, at the candy store where I used to go and get my sugar rush so I couldn't concentrate in school, there were comics you could get hold of. And like there was Superman comics, which I kind of didn't get really, because Superman, I was like, well, what's the story here? He's like, can do everything, so like, where's the drama in that, you know? But I liked the Silver Surfer because he was difficult. And I was an adolescent, and so was like in a permanent state of being pissed off. And that was the Silver Surfer. And he just looked really cool, but he was so pissed off. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And Doctor Strange I loved because he could control everything. And I could control nothing. So for all those reasons, I got him, I loved him. And then the Human Torch was just cool because who wouldn't want to fly and set fire to the ship, you know? So that was just it for me. And I just bumped along with those comics. They were difficult to obtain, you know, because it was the 70s. I mean, England had just about got colour TV, so most of my life was in black and white up till then. And we had a lot of other comics as well that obviously you didn't get over here, so we had like homegrown ones that mainly to do with TV shows. There was like a whole bunch of Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, and obviously Doctor Who. So that was my kind of childhood growing up, because I was born in '58, and I think the first episodes of Doctor Who were like 62, 63, something like that, you know. So I was, you know, I'm a Doctor Who lifer, as it were, there. And then when I got to music, comics just went out of my life because there was a whole world of imagination that music provided. And I didn't get back into them again until I was doing screenplay writing. I did a movie about Aleister Crowley called The Chemical Wedding. And the guy that directed it was a guy called Julian Doyle, who was a film editor. He did Brazil, and Time Bandits, and Holy Grail, Life of Brian, everything Monty Python. And he gave me a copy of Watchmen and said, read this is the future of movies. So I read it along with the script he gave me of Watchmen, that was the one that was going to be shot by Terry Gilliam but never got made. So that kind of like, this is an interesting world. So I went back to a comic store in Chicago. I was on tour with Maiden, and I bought all the compendiums of Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, whatever else I could get my hands on, and started rereading them and sort of like binge reading them. And I thought, there's a world of music and a world of movies and a world of imagination which all just seem to join into one. Maybe I could do a comic that would work with a record. And I'll shut up now.
So you mentioned 1958. I believe this is 1965.
Yeah, if you turn to should fail. That's it. That was going to be. I thought I read that episode and went, that's a great title for a record, for an album. That was going to be the title of the album. And wrote a song called If Eternity Should Fail. And actually, Iron Maiden covered that song. People said, why did you cover an Iron Maiden song on your album? I said, actually, they covered my song on their album. And like The Exorcist, I kind of repossessed it. The idea of doing one comic with the album was, I came up with a very basic story, which was two guys, Dr. Necropolis and Professor Lazarus. They've survived in Mandrake Project. It was a very basic story, one comic, based upon a guy who is separated from his brother at birth. His brother dies in the underworld. This guy's tortured by the fact, survivor's guilt, why me, how can I get him back? Very basic story. And imagine that there was a way you could get him back. What would you do with that technology? One was the bad guy, one was the good guy. So it's quite simple. Then the idea was the album would tell that story. Fast forward 7 years, a few things happened. I got throat cancer, I got better, I toured with Iron Maiden, and the world got COVID. And I was sat on my ass for 2.5 years with a lot of thinking time. And I started to develop the comic. And I realized that the comic had a life separate to the album, which was great because it freed the album from the restriction of having to follow a script and everything like that. Because music doesn't always fit neatly into categories. And so I developed the two things then in parallel, which is a long-winded way of explaining why the title for the song, If Eternity Should Fail, changed into Eternity Has Failed, because we now had a new story.
I love this. You guys